Trust the process. Pain is power. All great things take time. I am unbreakable. Unbreakable. Unbreakable.
Just doing a podcast and being consistent, it is very comparable to fitness. What would you say, sis? You think it's pretty comparable?
Absolutely, 100%.
Just acting on imperfect actions, staying consistent, building momentum. And speaking of fitness, today we have a special guest, Pablo Moreno. He's in the fitness industry. He's the owner of Ambitious Fits. He's the owner of Create. He's doing a ton of positive, amazing things. So first and foremost, Pablo, we want to say thank you so much for being here today, man. It's really good to have you.
Thank you, guys.
It's truly an honor, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. This has been this is like a true honor, honestly.
Is your first podcast?
Yes, first podcast. So I'll get the first ones out, and see where it goes from there.
No, but we just want to say thank you so much, man, and for you making the drive. Chino Hills. We really appreciate it. And again, like I said, I always see you on Instagram. It's actually our first time meeting you, and I see the value that you're putting out, and I love what you're doing. And everywhere from what the ambitious fits to the value that you put out daily to the real estate to just all these things, man, you're a very well-rounded individual.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much, man. It's like I said, it's a true honor to be here and getting the first podcast out and being able to get to know you guys. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? I see the value that you guys are bringing to the industry all over, and that's honestly what I'm about, to be able to just connect with people. In all different types of industries. That's what Ambitious is about. It's more than fitness. You know what I mean? So to be able to connect with other people, like-minded individuals,
we appreciate
that's
that,
what
man.
I'm all about.
You just moved to San Diego, right?
Yeah. So actually, I'm in a process right now. I'm actually moving tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm
it
in
worked out.
Yeah, it's working out. So this is a pretty busy week. I'm trying to knock it out right before the holidays. But yeah, I got a little studio down in San Diego, downtown. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Nice.
Not too, I guess, shy from the area. I grew up in San Diego a little bit.
What part did you grow up in?
So I grew up in like Oceanside, Carlsbad.
Okay.
I went to a military school out there actually.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah. So one of my two military schools that I went to growing up.
Was that by choice or your parents kind of just?
Man,
there's
a little bit of a story behind it.
We got the platform.
Yeah.
Man.
So we can. I guess we get started there.
Absolutely.
Growing up, mom was from Cuba.
Okay.
Or I should say, mom is from Cuba. Dad was from Mexico. So immigrant parents, born and raised in LA, Chino Hills, Chino, a little bit of San Diego. Parents weren't necessarily together, but they had a really good friendship and relationship growing up, which made it, nice, for the child, for myself.
That's awesome.
I guess we could start with my dad, from Mexico. Pretty big family on that side. He's from the DF.
Okay.
And then he came to the United States when he was 23.
Oh, nice.
So in Mexico, from what I know, he was studying for law, and he was almost about to graduate from the universities until my grandma and them came to the United States. Had to literally start all over, started all over, and obviously just like anyone, had to find a way to make a living for the family. Started flipping tacos on a little taco stand in downtown LA.
No way.
Yeah, flipping tacos, and one opened up his first location. By the time, right before he passed away, almost 100 restaurants.
Whoa.
So yeah, he blew it up.
What's his taco company
Tacos
called?
Mexico. Yeah.
Wait, Tacos Mexico?
Yeah, that was that's my pop.
Tacos Mexico.
Yes,
No way. I love that place.
Yeah, so that was Pops. And then on my mom's side, like I said, mom's side is from Cuba. Amazing story. My grandpa was a typewriter, and he was kind of like into marketing. He had his own business out there. And then, you know, when everything happened in Cuba, Fidel Castro, I guess, you know, started taking over businesses, and whatever happened, right? They had to leave. So my grandpa left to Spain about a year before he was able to leave with my grandma, my aunt, my mom, and my uncle. They were about 4 years old.
Okay.
Getting on a plane to Cuba 6 months prior to my grandpa, or after my grandpa leaving, the plane catches on fire.
What?
Yeah, so they return back to Cuba. Keep in mind, this is my grandma and the 3 kids, you know. She's by herself.
Yeah.
No way.
Back in the day, I mean, it's not like I could send a text to my
times were different.
So yeah, times were a lot different, right? So my grandpa's freaking out, you know, like, where's my family? You know, what's going on? They eventually get in contact, and then you know, they end up finally being able to link up with my grandpa in Spain about a year later. They live in Spain, and then come over to the United States about a year after, and my grandpa had family in Virginia.
Okay.
So they lived in Virginia for a little while, drove across the country, and you know, started in LA. So that's kind of like where it kind of began, right? As far as like my upbringing, my family. So how did my mom and my dad meet? Well, my dad had a lot of businesses. Grandpa was into marketing, newspapers.
Put 2 and 2 together.
Put 2 and 2 together. That's where little Pablito comes out. So
I know, today I'm like, Pablo or Pablito, because I'm used to calling you that, you know?
Yeah. So that's where, you know, it kind of started up. And yeah, like I said, they had a great upbringing. I had a great upbringing with my mom and my dad. Like I said, they weren't necessarily together.
Yeah.
Dad wasn't necessarily around too much because he was out working, but they had a good relationship. So I'm very grateful for that.
Pablo, how was it having a dad as an entrepreneur? Did you, because you're an entrepreneur yourself, did you pick up a lot of his tendencies?
To be honest with you, my dad passed away when I was, like I said, when I was 14.
Okay. So
I didn't really get to know too much about him on a business perspective. I've learned a lot about his story through the voice of others, mainly through my mom, my brothers. But that's kind of something I'm kind of just still figuring out right now. I'm so young into my entrepreneurial career that sometimes I do sit back and I'm like, damn, like, this is what my dad must have gone through, like, to scale, to be able to grow, to be able to make his dream become a reality. You know what I mean? And we're all dealing with it.
Absolutely.
Like, we're all starting up. You know what I mean? All these small businesses, brands, we're in that era right now where everyone's like developing their own personal brand.
Yeah.
And to be able to scale it back, I could only imagine back in that time. I mean,
how he was able to do it, especially to 100 locations.
Yeah.
With not the technology that exists today. And he did it. But there's to show you, like, he left that legacy for
and
you.
It wasn't even his initial plan. His initial plan was law school.
Yeah.
Which is so out there. It's insane. Now, you did mention that boarding school, military school.
Right.
So what's leading up to that?
So what's leading up to that? All right. So I did go to a military school. I want to say it was second grade. Second grade. It was actually here in Anaheim. And it was because, like I said, my dad wasn't necessarily always around. And my mom did get very sick. So I didn't understand it at the time, but I was like, you know what? I mean, my parents said I have to go to military school. So I went, and, you know, I did about a year there. Came back, went to public school, and you know, mom got better, I guess. And then going into my 8th grade year, middle school, my mom was like, you know what, you're gonna go back to another military school. And it wasn't necessarily because I was a bad kid or had bad grades.
The time.
But it was just the timing. It was just the timing. She didn't really want me to, I guess, mess up, in a sense.
How was that experience?
It was great. I was only supposed to go for a year.
So like, I loved it so much,
the promise was, all right, go for a year right before high school. Obviously, in high school, there's a lot of, you know, things that you could kind of get into.
Yeah.
No matter what high school you go to be honest with you, in my opinion, but it's there, you know. So the agreement was, all right, just go for a year and see how you like it. Okay, so I went, I got great grades. You know, I was a baseball player growing up, so I, you know, played sports and finished my year, you know, honor roll, like great. Coming out of high school, or coming out of junior high, it's July 28th. My dad passes away. So that was probably the day that completely changed my life. Didn't leave anything behind as far as in writing.
Yeah.
So you could start to imagine the bread maker in the family gone.
In a split second.
7 brothers and sisters on my dad's side. A lot of inheritance. A lot to fight
over
for.
The family, right?
Yeah. So I was the only one, pretty much standing on the outside, because it was the 3 older ones, 3 middle ones, and then myself, 3 different marriages. And you know, I had my mom to basically be my guardian through everything. And I can't thank her enough for everything that she's been through, that she's fought for, not only for me, but for our side of the family.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she doesn't get enough credit for it. You know what I mean? So yeah, instantly gone. And when I say that I've learned that money could change people,
it can change people.
It changes people extremely quickly. And I learned that, you know, I was very fortunate and unfortunate to learn that at a young age, at the cost of, you know, losing my mentor, my hero, my everything, you know. And yeah, so dad passes away. We go, I don't know if you guys are too familiar with like probate or anything like that, but
that whole
everything, yeah, it goes into process. And again, you have a man that is really well known in multiple countries, multiple, you know, cities, states, and everything's pretty much just up in the air for about, we were in probate for about 7 years.
It's a long process.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
A really, really long process.
So it was pretty tough. So during the time, I mean, my mom didn't really, she was trying to figure things out just like everybody else. So I don't, you know.
But she did what she had to do as a mother,
She did what she had to do as a mother. And we came together on my mom's side, and we stuck together, you know, and we did what we knew what we could do. You know, we,
given the circumstances.
Given the circumstances that we had, right? So I mean, you know, I ended up going back to military school because my mom told me, she was like, well, do you want to go back or do you want to stay? And, you know, I said, well, I want to go back because my dad really wanted me to graduate from here. He liked the structure. He liked, you know, the culture, the brotherhood that was there. And sure enough, I mean, there was times where I hated it. I'm not going to lie. I hated it. I mean, it was an all-guy military school.
Had to do it.
Had to live there half the time. But don't get me wrong. Like, I look back on it now, and it was probably the best decision that not only my family and I could have made together, but I look back on it now, and I'm just like, dang, I was very, very fortunate to be able to go through that.
I'm sure that it was able to equip you with the discipline, the mindset, and of course, like everything leading up to this day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, I look back on it. I think about it every single day. Like, I've almost built, like, my brand around it, because you got to think about it. I was around a bunch of, you know, Marines and just people that were extremely dedicated and motivated and just structured and self-disciplined, that, yeah, the academics were great and all, but I think what I took away most from it was that those types of characteristics, and it's almost like transitioned throughout my life. You know
Did your fitness career start in military school?
Not too much, believe it or not. I was actually really, really chubby. Yeah, I was.
We gotta see the pictures.
Yeah, I'll definitely send you guys some for sure.
Before and after.
Oh yeah, no, I was pretty chubby. Keep in mind, I mean, Dad, Mexican fast food restaurants. I mean, I was around it all the time.
Those burritos, though.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, those burritos.
Oh, they were bomb.
And my go-to over there was the burritos and the sopes.
They were bomb.
Amazing.
I haven't been there yet.
There used to be one. I don't think anymore. Now it's a Dunkin' Donuts. but it used to be off of First and Harbor. It's it's red and white. That was their colors,
red and
right?
I have been there. The Sopes.
Yeah.
Right on First.
Yeah.
They had some good salsa.
Yeah,
That's a big restaurant, man.
Yeah,
It's a huge
it
restaurant.
was pretty great. It was
So you guys got a lot of free food. Could imagine, right?
back in the day, yeah, back in the day. So I mean, it was great, and that's kind of like where so I graduated high school, and we're still kind of like in the probate, still trying to figure things out. At this point now, it's just like the lawyers just juicing the estates, and
It's usually what happens.
yeah, it was.
What did you guys do during that time frame? I mean, 7 years, especially. You said he was the one that made the money, right?
Right. So I mean, to be honest with you, my mom she was into real estate, selling real estate, and just trying to make ends meet. My brothers were working, so we would all kind of just tie in together. And I was going to school. You know what I mean? So mom was finding a way to do it, and that's why I tip my hat to her every single day. And she found a way to make it happen. Coming out of high school, like I said, my passion was I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
Like that was my thing. So I went to college, went to Palomar College out there towards San Diego. Didn't end up working out. Came back to Mount Stack. First season in, herniated disc in my back. Done. Couldn't walk for about 6-7 months. Had a rehab. And right around that time was when everything kind of closed as far as like the business that we had going on.
Yeah.
And immediately I transitioned into the work life, getting to know like how to run restaurants, how to put in orders, how to deal with employees. So I went from pretty much like athlete to you gotta learn the corporate world. You gotta learn how to pretty much be a leader to a bunch of restaurant owners, and there was just a lot going on.
How was the transition from having the dream of being an MLB player to realizing that, that dream is no longer existent? I know a lot of people, it's hard for them to come to that conclusion that I'm not going to live the dream life that I wanted. How was that for you?
It was tough. Just because of it. I didn't really want to give up on it.
Yeah.
And I had to I had to make a choice. So it was either keep going, and take that initial risk of,
fighting through the
injuries and all that good stuff, which I was up for, and I did do for a little while. But then at the same time, you say, well, what is it that you're passionate about? What do you want to do? What do you really want to do with your life, right? And what I had a passion for was helping others. Helping others, and so I was like, how could I help others while still being involved in physical activity? And I was like, shoot, I'll become a personal trainer.
Just like that.
Just like that. And I wish I could make it sound a little different, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it was. Now, there was a lot of things that triggered that. Just to kind of backtrack a little bit. To answer your question, you said, what was I doing, before all that happened with my dad, stuff like that. I had a couple jobs coming out of high school. One of my jobs was working at a front desk at a gym, at a corporate gym.
What gym?
It was Crunch Fitness.
Okay, I remember
Crunch Fitness. Yeah. So I was there, and I was working at the front desk. And at this time, I had just finished up my rehab, and I was just like, okay, well, working at a gym, it's cool. There's girls around. Like, I can work out whenever I want. I was like, cool. Like, let's do it. Then I started getting to know the trainers there, and I was like, man, these guys are making some pretty good money. Like, they get to work out and they get paid. I was like, shoot. So I went up to the manager and I was like, hey, how do I become a personal trainer? She's like, you'll never do it. Yeah.
Just like that.
It's just like, you'll never do it. Like, you won't make it in this industry. I mean, look at you. I was a little bit heavier, and I was just like, okay.
So what went through your mind when she said that to you?
Oh, it was, I got lit up,
So
I've always had that little chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
So it was like, there's always been people that say like, oh, just do this, just go work at the restaurants. But I don't want to do that. Like, no, you'll never be a personal trainer. You can't be a baseball player. Like, you won't make varsity. Little things that you hear. And yeah, I mean, I was like, okay. One day I walked in, and I'm not too proud to say this, but I mean, I like pretty much told her to take a hike.
Yeah.
And got fired on the spot. And from one day to another, I was like, you know what? I was sitting in my room, and I was just like, what am I gonna do? You know. It was a dark time, you know, just to say that. And the song by Wale, Ambition, came on.
Oh yeah,
that's some great song.
That's probably the song that lights me up every single time whenever I'm going through a dark time or something like that. Like out of nowhere, like it'll come on the radio, it'll come on my phone. Like it's crazy.
It's a really good song.
It's a sweet song. And sure enough, I was sitting in my garage or my room at the time, and that song came on. I was like, ambitious. Something about that word. It's just I've always loved it. And I was like, I'm gonna start training people on my own. I was like, let's do it. I was like, you know what? She said I'll never make it in this industry. Like, okay, awesome. Ambitious fitness, boom, and it just hit me.
Dude, that just gave me the chills.
Yeah, it just kind of like hit me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you know, I started training people out of parks. You know, I had a girlfriend at the time. I was like, look, at the time she was my girlfriend, but I was like, look, I need like a model to like help me out. Like, can you help me out? And like, I'll train you. And she was, sure enough, like, she was like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, why not? I'll have a free trainer, you know?
Yeah. So you're looking for someone to transform in a way?
Right.
Got you.
Right. And just kind of launch, you know, because I did realize that I needed an avatar. Like, what was going to be my niche? And obviously a bunch of like females, stuff like that, they want to like, they're into fitness. They're always into fitness, how they look, their appearance. And I was like, you know what? This chick is, you know, she's cute, you know, and, you know, I'll start using each other, collaborating, to promote something. And sure enough, you know, we started training. I started getting clients, turned my garage into a gym.
Nice.
And it wasn't like the nicest thing in the world, you know,
but
a couple of dirty weights, but it worked. But it worked, right? Had a roommate. I would put music on like 5 o'clock in the morning. He'd come out like, turn that shit off, you know, like. But it was cool, you know, and it didn't last long. That's the unfortunate part. It was tough. You know, people didn't want to train outside. It would be raining, or it was too hot, you know. And then ended up going to a corporate gym, another corporate gym in Gold's.
Gym.
Yeah, got brought on there in Montclair. Had some great mentors there. Put in my time at corporate, and then, you know, I decided to part ways. And ambitious. Selfmade came along, and
Let's talk a little bit about the mentors that you came across at Gold's Gym and at Selfmade. What are some of the things that you implemented into your everyday life from the mentorship that they gave you?
From the mentorship, man, I've been blessed with some great mentors. We could start at Gold's, you know. I had a fitness manager there that literally taught me the business side of things, is how to really like get the sales side going, the sales funneling, and that's when I really learned, like, okay, personal training is fun, training people is fun, the fitness industry is fun, but at the end of the day, like, we got to put food on our plates,
right, and
we got to be able to make it a business. And I was really fortunate to be able to learn the business side of how to close people, in a sense, how to really build my value as a personal trainer and as a coach, as a fitness mentor, to be able to take what I know and give it to somebody else, right? Because it's one thing for me to just tell you what to do, like, okay, go squat, go lunge, but another thing is to tell you, okay, why do I have to squat? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to eat like this? You know what I mean? It's like, I could tell you how to drive the car, but you're not really going to know until you get behind the wheel.
Absolutely. And it's best, I mean, if you're able to learn it, teach it, and then implement it together, it's better. It's kind of like business owners today, right? Or just professors teaching about entrepreneurship, but they don't even own a business. Right. There's many of those today.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And speaking of the whole fitness and just the battles that go into fitness, like resistance is one of them that we spoke on a little earlier. How do you deal with the resistance of the self-talk of waking up and just having that feeling that, you know what, I don't want to go to the gym today? Or, you know what if a client doesn't show up, or I don't have any leads, or I haven't closed anyone? How do you deal with that resistance?
I think the best way that I've kind of dealt with that resistance is just pretending that I have my back up against the wall. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like when I have a client or something like that, that's really what I tell them. You know, is I know it sounds like kind of cliche, but how bad do you want it?
No, it's the truth.
You know, it's like, okay, you want to reach a certain weight or you want to look a certain way. You could say it all you want, but at the end of the day, it's you got to take action. You know, you got to take action no matter what it is. And I've learned that. I'm still learning that every single day. It's like I tell my clients, like, you got to take action. Okay, you want to step on stage. Okay, you could talk all day about stepping on stage, but it's until you cut out all your junk food, until you really start doing your cardio every day, until you start hitting your workouts and you really start dialing everything in, then that's when it's really going to come. So
yeah, and Pablo, earlier you mentioned that what you really wanted to do from the beginning was help people and bring value to their lives. So with personal training, you're doing that. You're bringing value to them. You're helping them
every day
exercise and clear their mind, giving them clarity and direction. You mentioned closing. Now, for me, I feel like that should be easy for you because you're coming from a perspective of helping people. How does that work in an everyday life? So, for example, we want to get fit and we're interested in getting fit. How would we come to you, or how would you come to us with the approach of quote unquote closing?
So it's almost kind of easy. I mean, you want to get fit. I know how to get you fit. I have something that you don't essentially have yet. And that's the knowledge. I'm going to get you from point A to point B.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about personal training is there's a median and it's money. Right. And oftentimes I feel like people aren't serious enough as to where like we can talk all we want to get fit, we want this or that, but are we willing to pay?
Right.
And I think put value to it.
Exactly. And I feel like in life you always have to pay for everything that you do. And I think the money is just that median. It's almost like you said, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to pay for it? Because if we don't pay you, are we going to really stick to it? Right. That's the question.
It's a discipline, because usually if you put something to it, you're going to work hard for it because you want your money's worth, right?
Right. It's like having skin in the game. Right.
I'm sure you've trained people for free.
Oh, yeah.
Have they put in just the amount of effort as if someone was paying for your time?
I wouldn't think so.
Probably not.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough conversation sometimes. It honestly depends on each client, what their goals and needs are and things of that nature. But to make it kind of general, we all kind of have a car payment. We all for a
priorities, right?
Right. We all like nice things or whatever the case is. And when I would see a client, drive up in, let's say, I hate to be judgmental, right? We're not, but they drive up in a Benz. They probably have a $500-$600 car payment.
Or if not more, a little more.
Maybe a little more. And they'll tell me, well, I can't afford it. Okay. So you rather pay $500-$600 to have a car drive you around than to invest it in yourself. And then right there, I know, okay, well, that's where their priority is.
What's usually the response when you put?
They just start laughing. They just start laughing, but that's that's kind of like the person that I am. That's like I guess my persona is I just say how it is. It's like I've always been that way. And if they tell me, I always tell them, just be honest with me from the beginning, because I don't want to beat around the bush. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to waste mine. What is it that you want? What obstacles do you feel like you have? And how can we work around it? I'm all about finding solutions. So if money's a solution, okay, let's find a way to make it work, but let's not forget the end goal, which is let's get you in the best shape possible.
Right.
Right? Not only that, but your mindset too. Like, let's get your mindset there. When you really, really, really want to do something, it is possible. And I believe that.
I love the analogy of the car payment, because if you think about it, this is your vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, you're driving this around, you're walking around every day. Why are you going to spend more money, triple the amount of money on something that's materialistic like a Benz versus your vehicle, your body?
Yeah, this is what drives you around.
Even the mindset.
Oh, yeah.
The mindset. You can have an amazing body fit out of your mind, but your mindset will not be there.
Right.
Or vice versa. Right? So you got to start here and then work on the exterior.
Right.
So you made the transition from Gold's Gym, and then you went to Selfmade right after Gold's Gym, or how did that work?
Selfmade, yeah. So it was like almost simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Gold's for like the end of my term, I guess you could say, for like, and then it was like overlapping for like 2 weeks, a week or two. And it was right around this time of the year. It was like right before my birthday, and I ended up actually getting fired from there.
What happened?
Which I till this day, like, I don't really know the truth, but I think it was just more so of a corporate decision, just because of things that kind of went on. But it is what it ended up working out.
So it's a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise. Met with Cody, the owner of Chino Hills, and I was like, hey man, like, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. I do have my own personal brand. Like, is it cool if I brand myself in here? He's like, dude, I'm all for it. Like, you got my blessing, you got my back, anything that you need. And sure enough, I feel like that was like turning the page to something that just blew up. And I never thought it would even turn into what it is now. And Cody, to answer your question, Cody Stevens has been one of my biggest mentors, just in entrepreneurship, kind of playing as that big brother, and teaching me a lot of things that I am still learning. You know what I mean? And that's the business side of it again, but more so on a self-made level, like a self-made entrepreneur, being in business for yourself. And not only that, but just being a better leader to my team. Man, I could go on for days about that one.
Yeah, how old are you, Pablo?
24.
24.
Wow.
24. Yeah.
But you started from ground zero, if you think about it. Like, you really did. And understanding, the life that you came from with your dad, with the legacy that he left behind, it could have went 2 different ways. Despite the situation that happened with, the whole 7 years of going through that, you realized that you still needed to lean on your own understanding. You needed to build yourself up. And that's exactly what you did. And I'm 100% certain your dad would be very proud right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very proud.
I mean, it was like I said, it was a really unique situation, to say the least. Like you said, I could have gone 2 different ways, and something that I remind myself every single day is I just want to make my pops proud. Like, I just want to try and be half the man that he was, in the sense of a leader, and he was in charge of, or I shouldn't say in charge of, but he was responsible for a lot of people, a lot of families, and I'm just trying to learn what he could have taught me on the daily. Like, there's things that come up every single day that I'm just like, man, it would have been so much easier if my dad was here to teach me this, but it's like, well, let's figure it out, and it's like, oh, well, like dealing with employees, or just dealing with people that call in, or people with so many different things, you know what I mean? So
yeah. So now that you're a personal trainer, you're still training at Selfmade, or are you doing your own thing?
So currently, right now, I've stepped away from the in-person personal training, and I've kind of, something I've learned is, as an entrepreneur, as a owner of your own brand or business, you have to do what you're best at and delegate the rest. And that's the hardest thing that I feel like is for any entrepreneur, and that's where I feel like a lot of people get stuck, and they never are able to scale and grow. And that's kind of like in the transition that I'm at, is I have to be able to delegate certain things to certain people. I do have a partner that's currently coming on to help delegate certain things and run the brand. So once we get that, once we get the ducks in line there, it'll be a lot easier to kind of just delegate the in-person stuff. And right now I'm in the transitioning of doing online, because I feel like I could reach a wide range of individuals and people on that end.
Speaking of online, I've been following you on Instagram. I love the videos, man, with the subtitles and you describing the workouts.
Yes.
You put your sets laid out. It's very structured. And I love it because I was watching, you were doing squats and you were doing like
some back
lunges, some back workouts, and you were just describing the technique that goes into it. Is that something that you provide in your online training?
Yeah. So that's definitely something that I'm working on building, like an online library, workout library, so that my clients have follow along videos, because obviously I'm not going to be there to train them, but I want them to, I'm very meticulous about the why behind the exercise. So I don't just like to tell you, okay, go squat, go lunge, but I want to make sure that your form is right, because it's about long-term health and it's about making it a lifestyle. So making sure that they're safe while they're doing their exercises.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, long-term is essential. Oftentimes people want to redline the body consistently. They want to max out every day, but let's be honest, if you max out every day, are you going to work out the rest of the week? How do you deal with soreness and things like that?
Man,
it's a great question.
that's a tough question. That's a tough question, because I feel like I contradict myself, like, to my clients, and I kind of have like the Kobe mama mentality mode, where it's like, I don't care what it takes. Like, I'm just going to push myself. Yeah. And I kind of just deal with the soreness, but I guess that just comes with being in it with time. But then when I tell my clients, it's completely opposite. So I guess that's kind of like where I kind of got to get better as an individual and learn how to rest my body, learn how to recover a little bit better. But yeah, that's a kind of a tough question, I guess.
So we got to get into the competition.
Oh man,
we were there by the way. We were with the client that day.
There. So you know, it's funny. We were there with a client. She trains here as well.
Okay.
She took in what, 3rd and 4th place?
She took
third and 4th. Was
it her first
at 49
competition?
years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to show you her pictures afterwards.
Dang, that's awesome. Good
49
job
years old.
Shout out Monica.
Yeah, shout out Monica.
Great job,
But,
Monica. I want to meet you.
we saw a bunch of people wearing your shirts. And then I knew you were competing that day. Yeah. It was the 9th, right?
The 9th, yep.
And I'm like, he's here. This is the location. And I remember you were saying, yeah, he posted something.
I opened up Instagram, and the first thing I saw, you were there. You were shirtless. You were flexing. But I saw you had a medal around you. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, that was a journey I just came off of.
How long was that journey?
Okay, so to kind of step back, I never thought about competing. Like,
this is your first competition?
This is my first competition. Like, I never even thought about competing. I was like, as a trainer, it's like, man, I'm in it for different reasons, and it's like this and that. And I'm surrounded with a bunch of athletes for the brand that are competitors. It's like, once you're around it, like, you're gonna become it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Right, it rubs off on you. The beginning of the year was a little tough. Of this year, I had just broken up with my girlfriend and things of that nature, and a lot of things were kind of going on, and we were partying. It was a dark scene. So I took off, went on a vacation by myself. I went to Miami, just one day, literally just bought a plane ticket and took off. Packed a bag, and I was in Miami.
I'm done.
Just solo?
Yeah, solo. Just took off. Ended up having one of my friends fly out there for the weekend.
Nice.
And then he flew back, and then I just stayed out there and just got my mind right. On the flight back, I was like, you know what? What's going to be something that really just is going to change me? I was like, I'm going to do a competition. So sure enough, started the prep. Talked to one of my boys. He was going to be, coaching me through it. 6 weeks in, I dislocate my shoulder.
Oof.
Why? How'd you do that?
Broke my concentration is the best way that I could say it. Realized that I was just trying to do this for different reasons.
The wrong reasons.
And the universe quickly reminded me of that.
Humbled you pretty fast.
Humbled me really quickly.
But at least you take ownership of that.
Oh, 100%. You have to. You have to take ownership of it. And sure enough, like I said, I dislocated my shoulder and rehabbed again. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I said I'm going to do something. I said I'm going to do this competition, but I'm going to do this for different reasons. I want to, one, prove to myself that I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to follow through with what I'm going to say. I don't care about where I place. I don't care about taking home any trophies. I don't care about what other people are going to say. Another reason was I want to be able to, like I said, I have a lot of athletes, a lot of ambassadors that are competitors, and I want to be able to be a good leader and understand their point of view. I want to be in their shoes when they're going through competitions, and I'm, asking things to be done. And another reason was I'm curious. I'm a very curious person. I wonder what my limits are. So then we started up again. and went through the 12-week prep. And sure enough, stepped on stage, accomplished that mission, took home a couple trophies, and it was great.
That's awesome.
That is amazing, man. Congrats, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
So I need to ask you, going back just a little bit, when you started up again, the 12-week prep, was there ever a point where you wanted to quit? Where when you questioned yourself, why am I doing this?
Oh, absolutely.
How did you control your mindset?
A lot of self-talk. Looking in the mirror. Alongside of that, having amazing mentors. Sam Bakhtiar.
Shout out Sam.
Shout out Sam and 1%. That whole 1% group, honestly, like, they've helped change me. Andrew Cruz.
Shout out Andrew.
Shout out Andrew, another amazing mentor. EJ, another amazing mentor as well. That whole like
we just got everybody
crew.
on our
EJ, let's go. Let's go, EJ.
Yeah, that whole little 4 a.m. crew, the twins. I mean, my entire ambitious team. It's a lot of you guys, so you guys know who you are. But honestly, just telling myself, take one step at a time. There's a lot of times I wanted to give up. A lot of things I was going through throughout the last 12 weeks where it was like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not in this for the long term.
Yeah.
As far as like to become a competitor or anything like that. But the best advice that I could give people, and I told myself, was just take it one step at a time. And if you say you're going to do something, just follow through with it.
Gotta do it.
Man of your word.
Yep.
You have to.
I do have to ask you, same question, piggybacking off of hers. Was there any fear that came up, that arose from the 12-week prep, from leading up to the competition?
Absolutely. Like I said, I was a chubby kid growing up. Wasn't always necessarily the most fit, and I've always had an insecurity about taking my shirt off. And it's something that I still had leading up to the show.
Really?
It was
Never would have
crazy.
known.
Yeah.
Never would have known. Well, we appreciate your vulnerability, by the way.
One of my biggest insecurities is taking my shirt off.
So how'd you overcome it?
Honestly, just my coach would tell me, all right, it's time to practice, and I'd be in the gym, take your shirt off. Like, you got to get comfortable with it.
It was hard for you, huh?
It was tough, to the point where people were like, okay, you can put your shirt back on now, like, because you get used to it, and sure enough, I mean, that was probably one of the biggest things that I feared, was taking my shirt off and being in front of all those people. I mean, you guys saw how many people were there.
There was a ton of people.
Yeah.
It was a big competition.
And to be able to stand by, like, all those lights, like, with my shirt off, like, I would have never thought a chubby kid, like...
But you did it,
man. Yeah, I did it, and it's still overcoming that. Like, even till now, even till the day of the show, like, I don't feel necessarily comfortable doing it.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I notice a lot of people in the fitness realm, I don't know if you'd call it muscle dysmorphia, or it's almost like the opposite of anorexia. Some people feel like they're too small and they want to get big and they get all yoked, but they don't realize how big they are. Other people feel like, like you said, you were a little chubby. How do you deal with that psychologically? I mean, is there anyone that you talk to? Let's say, for instance, your circle, all the people in ambitious fits. I feel like a lot of them could relate in a sense, because they're in it for different reasons.
Right.
So how do you, like I said, how do you deal with that psychologically? Do you talk to someone? What do you really do?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have. We built our brand off of brotherhood. So of course we talk to, I have a really close group with those guys, and we absolutely talk with each other, and we piggyback off of each other. So I'm very grateful for those guys when we have insecurities or when we have a certain fear or something like that, we're there to pick each other up. So they pick me up through it. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it was, I have someone to, like, I guess, talk to about it, but I'm almost like in that leadership position where I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah, you just have to.
I just kind of have to find a way to be on and keep it together, because they kind of look at me as the leader in a sense, and I can't show any type of fear that way.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. There's a lot of things where I could, you know, be like, hey guys, I don't know how to do this. Like, hey, can we come together and figure something out? And sure enough, they pull it out. You know, it's like it gets done. You know, but.
And I love how you said that too. You're the leader, so you have to lead by example. Right. And if you didn't lead by example, you wouldn't be the leader that you are. And that's really, really big.
Yeah. So Pablo, what advice would you give someone? Let's say someone wants to get into competition, and let's just say you're giving the advice to your young self, going through the 12-week prep, after looking back to your competition, looking at, okay, what would I have done better? What advice would you give your young self?
My young self, know your why, for sure.
That's big.
Know why you're doing it. Don't do it for anybody else. It's more about the journey and learning about yourself, your mindset, than the day that you're stepping on stage. Who cares about that? You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. After your first one, then if you want to do it and you fall in love with the sport, with the stage, with the spotlight, okay, cool. But the first one, get to know your mindset. Get to know your why. Things that you could adjust. Obviously, you're going to learn. You're going to learn throughout the process. For me personally, I think I could have taken my nutrition maybe a little bit more seriously.
How so?
Not to say I didn't cheat at all. Because I didn't.
For the record,
I did not cheat at all. But
except afterwards, I saw those donuts.
Oh yeah. No, afterwards it was
big old box of donuts.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. But I could have been a little bit more sharp. I could have been a little bit more accountable towards myself. Maybe eat my meals exactly 3 hours apart rather than 3.5, or maybe 4 hours apart. You know, little things that you just start to dissect.
But they make a big difference.
They make a huge difference. And but that's more like kind of getting into the sport and dissecting the actual sport itself and your results. But the first one is really all about learning about your body.
Yeah. And you are a personal trainer, you are a coach. In the process, did you have a coach? Did you have a nutritional coach?
Absolutely. Yeah. Ricky, Slick Rick. Yeah, that's my guy. Shout out Slick Rick.
Shout out Slick Rick.
Yeah, that was a mastermind behind it all. I swear I could not have done it without him. There was those days where it was tough. He was there to pick me up.
Hold you accountable.
Oh yeah. There'd be days where I would you get a little moody. I mean, doing an hour and 45 minutes of cardio daily.
The cuts too, I can imagine, right?
I mean, there was days where the last 3 weeks I was on 0 to 25 grams of carbs. And it was
oh man.
I would die.
What does that look like in a meal?
Like half a cup of oatmeal by itself.
Wow.
For how long?
For the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Can you do that?
It was I ain't gonna lie, I underestimated the whole thing. I was like, oh yeah, I could do this.
It changes the
game. In the beginning, yeah, it's cool. Then he starts cutting things out. He starts adding cardio. He starts taking this, taking that away, and it's that's when you hit the dark time. It's oh shit, oh dang.
That's when you got to know your why.
Oh yeah, and then that's when you just dig deep. You dig really deep, and you're like, okay, well I said I was gonna do it. It's easy up until this point. All right, now you just really gotta you almost gotta zone in.
Yeah.
You know, and I told my guys, what's really important too is communication.
Yeah.
You got to be able to communicate with your coach, with your partner, with your employees, with everybody. I feel like communication is something that's so big. And just that constant communication with coach.
I love that you say that because Slick Rick, for instance, you said he's the mad scientist behind it all.
Yeah.
Communication is key. And when you take the word communication, the prefix of that is communion. Communion is one. So in a sense, you guys are becoming one because he's showing you all the ins and outs of how he would handle the competition. So in a way, you're just his avatar. And in a crazy way.
Absolutely.
And without the communication, you wouldn't have any of that. So that's vital. Yeah. That's huge. And just in anything, in any relationship, with the spouse, with a business partner like my sister, we're business partners. We have to communicate all day long, and we almost have to act as one mind. And without communication, we wouldn't have that. So
just because we're brother and sister, we still have those issues, just like anybody else. But we gotta own it. Yeah. We utilize each other's strengths and weaknesses, and just learn from it every single day.
Right. So. No, communication is key.
So for your next competition, will you and Slick Rick
He's trying to get it out. He's trying to get it out.
Yeah. When's that coming up?
You gotta make those donuts worthwhile, man. Come on.
Yeah. No. Well, I think they've done their job already.
So I need to ask you, during those dark times within those 12-week prep, how many times did you play that Wally song, that ambitious song?
Oh man. Shoot. Probably at least 2 to 3 times a week.
I bet.
Yeah, and that would fire me up. That would fire me up, because I would just remember that individual, that individual saying you'll never make it.
Yeah.
I remember all those people that would say, hey, you can't do this. You're gonna be chubby. There's a saying in Spanish that they used to call me, or a name in Spanish that they used to call me was gordo, growing up, and it was out of love, but that sticks with you.
Family nickname.
Yeah, that sticks with you, and you kind of have that little chip on your shoulder, and it's like, all right, it fires me up, like, let's go,
It's crazy, like, there's always gonna be haters, no matter what, and they could say it's out of love, but let's be honest, it's out of hate. Yeah. Like, it really is. Like, it's almost like.
But you gotta use that as your fuel, man.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I'm sure during those dark times, it even pushed you even more. Yeah. Because you gotta not only prove them wrong, but in a sense, prove yourself wrong. Like, you can do this, you know?
Definitely. Hate.
How do you deal with that?
You know what? That's something that I've dealt with my whole life.
Yeah.
I've always been, oh, he's the father of boom, or, oh, he had it this way, or even from, like, your own
family.
Blood, in a sense, like close people that you think really love you, and they turn your back on you. It's like, oh, this, oh, that. To be honest, I kind of look past it. Yeah. I used to let it, like, get the bad stuff out of me, but at this point, I like you said, just let it turn, let it fuel you, and at this point, I've kind of grown past that, where I just don't even pay attention to it no more. It's just there. It's always gonna be there. Until this day. The other day, I was getting messages from random people, like. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it was.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's always gonna be there. But my best piece of advice is just to.
So is there another competition coming?
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking to step on stage in June.
Nice.
Pretty excited about that. Right now, I'm just going through a little bulk, fluffy stage where I want to put on some size and then start cutting down, maybe like January, February. So nice. Pretty excited for that.
All right, Pablo. So at the Unbreakables, we have a tradition here. Cool. All right, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
D, what is this? Describe it.
Yeah. So there's no such thing as coincidence. We feel like every question is deep in this deck, and we just want to know a little bit more about you, but the deck is asking the question.
Okay.
We aren't.
You can pick up to 2. If you don't like the question or you feel a little uncomfortable, you can go on to the next one.
No, actually, he should feel a little uncomfortable. What are you talking about? All right, you can pick 2 and then just read one by one.
Read one by one? Okay. Here's one. Let's see. All right, let's see here. How have you grown in the last year? Oh, man, that's a good one. The competition has been a highlight. The competition has been a highlight. My mindset, the people I've surrounded myself with. Like I said, this time last year, I wasn't necessarily in the best mindset, wasn't eating the best, wasn't as consistent, and wasn't really a man of my word to a certain extent.
That's important.
And my brand was almost reflecting it. Like, yeah, we were doing great as a brand and as a business, but there was a lot of things that we could have done better. And it all started with me being at the top. So in the last year, obviously, I decided to do that competition, which has shaped up a lot, shaped up my mindset, my focus, my commitment, my drive. So I guess that answers that question.
Nice. Yeah. And then you said, like, the people you were surrounding yourself with prior to this past year, was your circle completely different?
I wouldn't say it was completely different, but just our thought process. Our thought process was a lot different. There are a couple people that aren't necessarily around. There are new people that have came in. Sam, Andrew, EJ, just to name a few, that have played such a big role in in my transformation. And it was crazy because, like, the minute I cut certain people out, automatically this group came, and I was just like, it was like a blessing.
One door closes for another one to open.
Exactly. And I till this day, like, I see these guys and I thank them every single time. So yeah, for sure. A lot of growth in this past year. A lot.
It's gonna keep growing too,
yeah,
man.
2020 is around the corner, man. I'm
excited for that one.
Yeah.
Excited for that one. It's gonna be a big year for everybody, for sure.
Big year.
Yeah. All right. What do you love most about your parents? Wow.
Man, I said no such thing as coincidence, bro. It's crazy.
Hey, and by the way, we haven't actually, no one's picked that card yet, huh?
No
From this
one.
deck.
Wow. That gives me the chills. My dad. To start with my dad. Man, so much that I love about him. If I had to pick one thing, what he's taught me without him being here.
It's powerful.
Yeah. What he's taught me without him being here has really, like, resonated with me. Like I told you guys, every single day I wake up with the purpose of, I just want to make you proud. I want to be half the man you are. And my mom, her ambition and just the love that she gives to my brothers and I, because she's the best mom in the world. You know, she's that mom that easily could have just thrown her kids out on the street and say, figure it out. But no, she's been there. She's been through a lot of adversity, and she's always played her role as best as she could. You know what I mean? So that's what I love about my parents.
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah, that's a cool question.
And I'm sure they are very, very proud, both of them.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to, at least. Try to make them proud as much as I can.
Now, we talked about fitness and the whole round, personal training, all of your mentorship. Let's talk a little bit about Create, because I know Create, it's your marketing brand, it's videography. Are you doing the editing as well in that, or do you have a team of editors and a team of shooters? Yeah, so with Create, it is something a little bit newer that we're just kind of getting started. I'm working with editors, I'm working with videographers, content creators, and the point of it is I'm trying to start up an agency where I could try to reach other small businesses, other small, entrepreneurs, personal trainers, real estate, like all these different industries that I'm in, to try and bring the value of digital marketing to them. That's big.
Because I feel like, and you're kind of like in that realm as well, right?
Exactly.
Like, right now, not too many people pick up the newspaper. Like, everything's at our fingertips.
Yep.
You open up Instagram and it's like,
it's all social media.
It's all social media, Twitter, Instagram, like Facebook, like all these social platforms, LinkedIn, like if we could bring digital marketing and I could find a hole to try and bring value to all these small businesses, entrepreneurs, I think that's what Create's going to be more about.
That's beautiful, because a lot of people, they look at videography and they see that, they think, number one, it's overpriced, it's very expensive. Number two, it almost seems complicated. Yeah. Like, to hire a video team, I have to pay the shooter, but then I also have to pay the editor. How long is the turnaround time? They don't have any of these questions. So to be able to, or they don't have any of these answers. So to be able to provide them with something that's made simple, made easy, quick, efficient, what more can you ask for? Yeah. Especially in a time like this when, like you said, the digital space is so oversaturated, and you don't know, you get so many different prices. Right. And overall, people want quality, and not only that, they want partnership. Yeah. And it's literally a teamwork. Yeah, no, really teamwork makes the dream work, and as long as you're able to leave, like for me, it's never been about like the money to me. It's been more about try to bring value to you. What could I do for you? What kind of service could I give to you as a consumer, and leave enough meat on the bone for you to take advantage of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely for sure. So yeah, and for all the businesses out there, small businesses, real estate, personal training, anything like that, if you want to take your business to the next level, like Pablo's saying, the digital market, the digital space is vital. You want to be able to have advertising on deck. You want to have all your videos, all your content for Instagram, TikTok, everything out there. Everything. Jump on it. And if you haven't, Create's a big one. Unbreakables Media is another one. Like we said, we're all family here. And the beautiful thing about this is that as entrepreneurs, we're always looking to help each other out.
Absolutely.
We're always looking to expand
100%.
mentally, physically, spiritually, and that's the best thing about this. That's why I love Sam, EJ, Andrew, all of the one percenters, because it's not really coming from an egotistical standpoint.
Not at
It's
all.
literally, it's all fam.
So
Yeah.
how can we
Self-made is
help
another
each
one.
other?
How can we help each other?
Family. That's honestly like, there's an abundance of it out there.
It's
You don't have to
resources,
be
right?
you don't have to be greedy. There's an abundance of people. There's abundance of money, like everything. Like there's enough for everybody to go around, and that's something that I just don't understand. And that's a really like that triggers something for me, because it's like I see a lot of personal trainers, for example, where it's like, oh, don't steal my clients. It's like there's a lot of clients out there.
Yeah.
You know, like let's help each other.
That's like almost saying like, yo, don't help that person.
Yeah.
It's like, bro,
Yeah,
like they need
basically.
help.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're trying to help them.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But at the end of it all, there's people like you to be different from those type of people. Because without you, there wouldn't be a difference. You know, a teacher is made to show to teach. There has to be a student. There has to be a teacher. There has to be a bad person and a good person.
Right.
Without those polarities, I mean, what is there really? There's no difference.
Right.
But we want to say, number one, Pablo, is that you're very humbling, bro.
Very,
And
very humble.
the fact that you're only 24, I mean, man.
Very mature for your age. by the
Very
way.
mature, bro.
Thank you.
No,
It's-
man,
appreciate
really. And
that.
we really appreciate you being here. Now, if you can, tell the audience how they can contact you.
Yeah, I mean, through Instagram. Instagram's great. Instagram's a great platform at Pablito_24. Or my brand, ambitious_fits. It's the best way to contact me.
And then I also want to just touch base. I saw on your website, there's a membership on the bottom. Now, I know that the initiation fee, you have an initiation fee and then you have the monthly. Is all together?
So right now we're actually in the process of kind of changing that up, because
Okay.
the membership are the classes that we provide at Selfmade Chino Hills.
Okay.
Got you.
Okay.
So we do have men's classes and women's classes, strength training classes, and things of that nature. So that's what the membership is. But we're in the process of changing that stuff up today. So.
Awesome.
So what is next? I know we talked about future competitions,
Yeah.
ambitious fits, but what is next for 2020?
Yeah, besides tomorrow, because I know
Yeah.
you're moving tomorrow as well.
Yeah, so the next thing is I wish I could honestly say, like, this is my exact plan, you know. All I know is I'm headed down to San Diego, downtown to be exact, and I'm looking to start essentially all over again. I'm not leaving Ambitious behind. I'm not leaving anything that I've created behind, but I'm looking to expand. I'm looking to build new connections, build new relationships, get myself in an environment with a lot more people, and just spread a better message and just connect. Honestly, I'm kind of like starting all over in San Diego in a sense. So
That's awesome.
New opportunities, though.
yeah, new opportunities. What's essentially planned? I mean, I guess we'll
Just gotta trust the process.
trust the
ride.
process. Yeah, trust the process, trust the ride, and see where it goes.
Man, thank you so much for telling your
Yeah,
story,
man.
bro. I know a lot of people are going to learn from it, especially, and I don't want to go back to the dark times, but there's a lot of people that are dealing with losing loved ones. And to be able for you to tell your story on this platform and to show them that, you know what, you can still make it through those dark times and use it as power.
Yeah.
That's truly
It shows a
gift.
lot of strength, man.
a lot of
A lot.
strength. So thank you for that, brother. Make sure to follow us at Unbreakables Podcast on all platforms. Make sure to follow our media team, Unbreakables Media. Follow Create. Like I said, we all do similar things. And what we want to do is just help you guys bring value to your businesses, bring value to your brands. That's very, very crucial. And anything else, sis?
That's basically it. If this message resonated with any of you, like it, comment below, share it, okay? Share this message with anybody in need. Again, Pablo, thank you so much, especially for making the drive, man. We really, really appreciate it. We're excited to build, a relationship with you, do some future collaborations. And that's what I'm
for
saying.
sure.
2020, man,
Yeah,
it's going to be
2020
great
is
for
going to be
everybody.
awesome. I just want to honestly take this time to thank you guys, thank your guys' audience, your crew here. You guys have been amazing. The hospitality. Thank you for giving me the opportunity and platform to be able to spread
Absolutely.
a message. And connect with amazing, like-minded individuals.
We appreciate you, man.
For sure.
Yeah, of course. We should do it again sometime, man.
Definitely.
Maybe after another competition or something.
Yeah.
You know? There's always, we're always growing. And it's like you said, there's
so
always
much
change.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Always changing in big ways.
Evolution.
Woo, 23.